Okay, right. Where were we? Temple, main chamber. Let's go. Now, that's one technical issue sorted, in that we actually have the game running again. Oh, everyone's still there, by the way. Welcome, I'm back. We're playing more Discworld Noir. That's one technical issue out of the way. Now, the other technical issue is that this is not giving me what I need. We're getting rid of that brown as soon as we can, by the way. So we got a list. We can ask you about errata. We can ask about the True Believers meeting. Conspiracy is the Church for errata, but that does not give me the dialogue option that I'm supposed to have down here. Which implies to me that I have probably forgotten something earlier in the act, maybe? So what we're going to do, because I'm fairly sure I'm doing the right thing. We got stuck for a while, so I looked it up. What we're going to do, we're going to have a look at the walkthrough. And we're going to see if we can find something that we've not done. There could be something else earlier in the act, I guess. So. Cemetery, follow all. This is like the whole act. I'm just going to have a quick scan through it, look for anything that we've not done. Because Castanelli, we find the moss. Follow the murderer's trail. Back to the cemetery. See a silhouette of Mooncalf through the window. Ask speaks to the count, his health is fading, death is with him, yep. That's where we get to the library. Find a book. We use the moss. That's where we get the sewers. We find out that Carlotta's a werewolf. Go through the large pipe at the entrance to the sewers. Basically get to the lair. Pause to the Grim Squeaker and show him the pendants. He'll say the thing brought it. Okay. Show the pendant to Leonard. Cool. We did that. Go to the trash heap, change the werewolf mode, compare serial killer sounds. So that's about the wine barrel stuff. There's no spoilers in the guides. But once we find something that we've not done, that's the point at which I stop anyway. Go to the trash heap and change his werewolf mode, compare to serial killer scent with magenta traces. Yeah, we did that. Ask us to the library. Book on 7 of Anu, but someone ripped out the pages. We figured that out. So we find out about the 3 Kentweight killing victims. We get the crowbar. If you're going to investigate the Kentweight killings, death seems a logical person to start with. Ask him about the killings. We find the bandages. Get 2 bits of information out of Nobby. We get the bandages. If you ask about the envelope, we suggest it might be a blackmailer's envelope. Carlos received your message, waiting for you. Tell about Reagan's murder. She was telling you it's Temple of the Gods at the time. Yep. Updated info. Oh, yeah. For some reason that's reset, hasn't it? 1 second. Oop, 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 oop. There we go. Thank you. Triggers Carlos' alibi. She claims to be a follower of errata. Oh! Okay, maybe this is what we've not done. Maybe that's what we've not done. Let's go check that out. Let's go. Right, I think we found it. I think we're on direction again. Carlotta, we have things to ask you about that apparently I didn't ask you about before, but I'm pretty sure I did. But we'll see what happens. Okay, we are definitely getting rid of that brown. That is definitely something that we're replacing with.
I like to see this time.
Oops. Turn off. Wait, why can't I turn off display? I don't want display mode. I want game mode. Oh no, my stream deck's not working with OBS. Ah. Stream deck, why? I kind of need my stream deck to work with OBS. Everything is automated. I don't want party mode. So it turned on party. It didn't. Sorry, now party stuck on. Alright, we're stuck in rave mode. Help, technical difficulties. Help, technical difficulties. Oh no. Oh, I've got to do all this manually now. Okay, so hide rave mode. Hide display. Right, there we go. Okay. Okay, why is my stream deck not working with OBS? I don't know. Whatever. That's a thing for after stream. It's one of those wonderful days where everything goes wrong. Let's have to see Carlotta. Oh, we replaced it with teal. That's not much better. I want something light. Light and easy to read.
You can't keep yourself away
You're
from
going to
me.
be pink, aren't you? I mean, it's better than teal.
Can you, Luton?
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask some more questions.
It's more readable than... so Luton's is brown, Carlos's is pink. Dumb text. Right, so, Carlotta, tell me a little bit about where you were when Reagan was murdered.
Reagan's dead.
I'm not surprised.
You don't seem to care.
Everybody dies, Luton. Mundy, Reagan, even you.
What's your point?
No point. That's just life.
Where were you when Reagan was killed?
When was he killed?
Shortly after dropping you off at the Temple of Small Gods.
Well, there's your answer then.
Carlotta's alibi.
I can't help but notice that your recurring alibi for the murders is that you were at the Temple of Small Gods.
Everyone needs a little solace now and then.
You seem to need it a lot.
I'm not easily satisfied.
Which god is it that you worship?
I really don't like to discuss religion.
Come on. I only want to know the name.
All right. Her name is Errata.
Oh
but
my
I
god.
don't appreciate you prying into my spiritual affairs like this.
Can I pry into your physical affairs?
My affairs are never just physical.
Right.
I bet you say that to all the boys.
We've definitely asked Carlotta about Reagan's murder before. Why that's not come up as an item before, I don't know, but... yeah, okay. I'm fine looking up something like that because it's like, oh, you missed one thing of dialogue in a game where you have to like talk to everyone about everything all the time. Fair enough. It happens. Progress is progress. It is progress, indeed. So that should be enough information to finally get us into the inner sanctum, and from there we are back to fully blind. And that's it. We're done. We're not going any.
I need your help again.
Greatest of Sundays, Roman. How are you doing today?
They'll all need my help sooner or later. They just don't know it yet.
Right, Malaclips. Malaclips. Tell me a few things. True Believers meeting.
I overheard Mooncalf talking about a meeting of the True Believers. I'd really like to know what that was about.
Your meta best today.
It's
Fully
tough
understandable.
to
Hope things
find
get
out
better.
What the cult of Anu is up to.
Regardless,
Is
look
there
after
any
yourself
way I could
as ever.
listen in to one of Mooncalf's sermons?
The sermons don't
We're
take
chilling with some
place
puzzles if
here.
you want to.
They
If you
hold
want to
them
stick around.
in the inner sanctum.
The Inner Sanctum?
We're going to the inner sanctum.
It's the
Alright, we've already talked about this though. So, nope. Right, Errata. We have a follower of Errata, and that is Carlotta. Haha.
Is that right?
Bah! I am the only true follower of Errata in the whole of Ankh-Morpork. Unless you have seen the light.
I have seen the light.
Seen the light?
Do you believe in the
I
ways of
believe in the ways of
Errata?
Errata.
How could I not? Surely, Errata is the most worthy of all gods to follow.
Either you've just had a miraculous conversion or you're learning to lie. Good.
Good.
A useful skill in followers of errata.
Right, take me to the inner sanctum. We need a sermon about how great errata is.
So if I agree to be your follower, you can get us into the inner sanctum.
Yes, I can. But you wouldn't really be my follower. The followers of errata don't follow each other. We don't even follow errata.
Wait, what?
We follow our own ways.
This is a confusing religion.
So why is there a church of errata at all?
You're learning, Luton. Keep thinking like that and you'll go far in the church.
So can you get me into the inner sanctum?
I can, provided we can find a time when the cult of Anu aren't there.
Are mooncalf's lot in there often?
All the time. And that's not all either. He sneaks away after each one. I think they've got a
Secret sanctuary?
somewhere.
I'd like to find that.
Actually, I'd quite like you to find it too.
Can't resist a secret, eh?
No, I'd just like to get in the way of everything Mooncalf does.
Valid.
Him and his big evangelical budget and hordes of out-of-tune followers singing and chanting at all hours of the day.
Malachite seems really quiet.
He's gonna get his comeuppance, and anything I can do to speed it up suits me fine.
So you'll help me?
Like they just recorded it way too quiet.
Wait here. I'll go and make the arrangements.
To the inner sanctum. Nice.
It took a while, but eventually Malaclips got me into the inner sanctum. Malaclips stayed by the door to warn me if anyone was coming.
Okay, first of all, is this the Discworld? Is that Atuin with the disc on the back? With the elephants? Because if so, that's pretty cool. I want a close up of this, and you're denying me a close up of this. God damn it! How dare you? Second of all, hey, we're in the inner sanctum. I guess we'll head over here. We have a lectern and stained glass windows.
There were small stained glass windows in the inner sanctum depicting the story of how a valiant mortal, pure and gentle, was cruelly tricked, taunted, and tortured by...
Yeah, that sounds about on par for the gods.
There wasn't much I could do to the windows.
Yeah, you return to confusing religions. Yeah, yeah. Confusing religions is a thing in the disc.
The inner sanctum sported a beautiful lectern. The plaque said it was donated to the temple by Mr. Fidean, of the militant servitors of Ikebana, goddess of topiary. Searching, I discovered there was a cavity in the base of the lectern.
Let's open it. The secret staircase, right? There's always a secret staircase under the lectern.
The space under the lectern was large enough to fit a whole person inside. Unfortunately, there wasn't much room to move inside. To my embarrassment, I got stuck.
Listen, they're coming.
I'm stuck.
Hide.
I'm already
I'm
hidden.
way ahead of you, Malaclips.
He does not look comfy.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered together in the sight of our God, Anu, to speak of our devotion to the Anointed One at this, our time. But before today's sermon, I'd like to read from the cult bulletin for a moment. Firstly, there's a jumble sale next Saturday to raise funds to buy a fresh goat to sacrifice. We'd appreciate it if as many cultists as possible could attend. We don't want to have to sacrifice another pigeon. It hardly befits a deity of the illustrious wonder of Anu to be sacrificed another of Mrs. Jerboam's gerbils either. Yes, I know they breed like flies, but that's not the point.
The sermon was one of the most tedious things I'd ever had to listen to.
I like the,
And as if that wasn't bad enough, then the hymns started. Why the gods wanted to listen to such droning monotony was a mystery to me, but I suspected they just liked to make the mortals suffer.
I mean, to be fair, making the mortal suffer does sound pretty fun. So, what do we want to do? We have Mooncalf's feet. Um... Um... Hmm. Huh. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. We need to put something that smells on his feet so that we can follow it.
I tried to follow Mooncalf, but he moved quickly and his scent was rapidly swallowed up by the stench of the Ankh.
Yeah, we need to put something on his shoes. Now, where do we have something that is a scent? Why, at the Octarine Pirates, of course. I realize I never tried taking this perfume. And I'm pretty sure we'll be able to. Right. Game. Right. Good. I'm glad they were very obvious about this one. So we need to go to another sermon. Now that we have the object in question. Can we go back into the inner sanctum? Malaclips. Please. Yeah, I was just like, what else can you do with feet?
I need your help again, Malaclips.
And this game is very much about smells. And the only smell we found that's like not a person is this perfume.
They just don't know it yet.
Back in we go. Back under the lectern. Oh, the hymns have already started. So use perfume on feet.
I sprayed Mooncalf's feet with Sapphire's trawl perfume. That should make the little psychopath a little easier to follow.
Nice.
Sapphire's perfume cut through the stench of the river like a trawl wading through a dwarf street rally. The bright reek led into the shades, the oldest and most dangerous part of the city.
We're solving puzzles. Woo! Oh god, we got a cutscene. This is terrifying. Am I going to succumb to my bloodlust again?
As a wolf, I listened to what the so-called true believers were saying through one of the windows of the sanctuary.
Greetings, brethren. I called
The
to order
Hail,
this
brothers!
extraordinary general meeting of the secret cabal of the true believers of Anu Anu.
You smell nice tonight, boss.
What?
What is that? KC2?
What are you blathering about, Foyd? Anyway, I see we're all present.
Therma not present, boss.
Therma has to keep a low profile at the moment. Do not concern yourselves with her absence.
Why should Therma have such special status? I have important business of my own to be doing, and these interruptions aid no one.
Quiet, Satrap.
Oh, so that's Satrap.
Mooncalf wouldn't have called us together if it wasn't important.
Indeed
Oh,
not.
that's Warb.
There is an investigator, a Mr. Luton, who's been
That was
asking
Warb's voice.
worrying questions. I think he may know about Nylon Ethertep.
I do now.
Nylanathatep.
I still say this is madness.
Is this a Cthulhu
There
game?
must be a better way to glorify our beloved Anu Anu without taking such risks.
You always were the spineless one, Coombe.
Silence, Kondo. As chairman, I will not permit such disputes when the meeting of true believers has just been called
It's like
to order.
Nyarlathotep,
When
right?
can we have a dispute?
It can wait until we reach any other business.
Damn.
Shh.
Wait,
What is it? I heard something outside.
They say bravery is what tells the men from the boys. Well, I was a wolf, so I figured I could be brave and still run away.
There's something about the red and the motion, the blur they've gone with to the side that just like feels very intense. So we've got a new location on the map, it looks like, and something new in the Nylanathatep.
Mooncalf's cultists had mentioned Nylanathatep, but at first I didn't know what it meant.
Well, we definitely need to go to the library and look that one up. What do we do first? Do we go to the library or do we go to the sanctuary? Where's the sanctuary? There's the sanctuary. Right near my office. What? But no, we go to the library. We go to the library. We save the new location. The new location is exciting.
Who would Sarah like to see this time?
We save ourselves.
Very well, I will.
To the library! With not an orangutan in sight. What we're looking up. Nylanathatep.
The Necrotelecomnicon was a
Oh,
book
it's
that
the
legend spoke of,
Necrotelecomnicon.
saying that any mortal man who read it would be driven insane. I
Necronomicon.
learnt about it from a copy of Necrotelecomnicon discussed for students with practical experiments that I found in the library.
It's very much a Cthulhu reference.
In this tome, there is a description of the old dark gods of the Disc,
Yeah, the old
including
gods.
the terrible laddering holler, Nylanathatep. Apparently, Nylanathatep was once summoned by a series of 8 murders, forming a perfect octagram, focused at the center of the Circle C, thus releasing it from the sunken city of Leshp, where he was trapped, along with drunken Cthubopalulu.
Cthubopalulu! Cthubopalulu!
Nylanathatep now, but beyond him being safely imprisoned somewhere around the Circle C, it drew no conclusions.
Alright, it's a Cthubopalulu reference. Oh boy, that's,
In the past, an octagram of murders had been involved in summoning Nylanathatep.
we have pictures now. Alright, octagram of murders. I'm assuming that's one of them.
Was the murder part of some gruesome new octagram?
We know about 6 murders.
Was the murder part...
I could do with, like, finding it. We could, like, try and trace this on the map. Oh, errata as well. Yeah, let's look for errata. Why not? I did think about doing that, but then I completely forgot. No. Butler. Alright, hold on. I need to go outside and come back in, because that's the only way to talk to the butler. So, actually, wait. Before we do that, print screen. Here's what we're going to do. Here we go. So, where do we have the killings? One in the Unseen University. One in the palace. One at the Magdalen Bridge. One at the Oxford Parrot. One there. Who else have I not got? Merchant's Guild? Yeah, Merchant's Guild. So this is very much pointing... There's going to be another murder somewhere here. Maybe another 2 murders. One there, one there. There might be one there. I don't... But I think that this gap's bigger than that gap. Right? So... If whatever it is focused in the middle... Yeah, we have something there. And again... So, my Stream Deck works for showing it, but doesn't work for hiding it again. Why is that? Like, I can bring up a display, I just can't put it away. Right. So yes, back to the mansion. That was just a little observation. Little observation. Little observation of where the murders have been so far. They're very much in a circle. Alkali is still following me. Let's go to the library. Rata.
The only literature I could find on errata in the library was a leaflet published by Malaclips, who gave his permanent address as the only really holy...
Definitely the holiest of corners. And I guess we can try looking up the octagram as well.
The library was a leaflet I looked up the octagram of murders in the library, but I could only find the entry I'd already seen in Necrotelecomnicon discussed for students.
Cool. I just love that, like, we've got all these pages with, like, writing on, little headings. Yeah, it all makes sense. And then this one's just, like, oh, here's an octagram. Because why not? Beeb-and-bopped version of Cthulhu mythos. I'm sorry, who? All I know is Cthubopalulu. Right, I guess we'll go to the sanctuary then. I guess we're going straight inside then. Okay. Oh, we've got a map. It's probably going to draw on the map, isn't it? It's probably going to draw him on the map. What's this fresco all about?
The sanctuary was decorated with a strange and disturbing fresco. Closely examining the fresco, I could see that one of the symbols
Is it the
made a
8-pointed
frequent
star?
appearance.
Yeah, it's the 8-pointed star, innit?
The recurring symbol on the fresco was like a distorted star with an eye in the center. I wasn't sure what it was. I made a sketch of the symbol in my notebook.
Oh, I'll take it. Oh, we got just, like... Is that on the same page as the, Yep. Can we combine the two? No.
Perhaps...
I can probably go look up that symbol, though. That'd be interesting. For now, let's have a look at this map of Ankh-Morpork.
For some reason, the cultists had a map of Ankh-Morpork in the sanctuary. I couldn't easily take the map, but I could use it to work out some things.
Alright, can we plot the octagram of murders onto the map?
If there was an octagram of murders taking place in the city,
I already did this.
it might help to
Luton.
find out exactly where each murder took place.
Okay, do we just put each murder on there? We just start with Malachite? Okay. Nice. Let's do Reagan. That's on the bridge. Let's do Mundy.
I knew where Malachite, Mundy, and Reagan had been killed, but the triangle didn't seem to suggest anything useful.
Okay, let's do... where's the next one? Matham?
I knew precisely where 4 murders had taken place. I needed more information.
Alright, next one would be Cypher.
I had found the precise location of
This is like
5
turning in
murders.
quests at this point.
I needed to know more.
And... Gaming. Gaming!
The murders were marking out a perfect octagram, just like the one that had been used to free Nylonathotep from sunken Leshp centuries ago.
I didn't expect this to suddenly go
If
the
I
direction
was
of
right,
Cthulhu,
there
honestly.
would be 2 more murders, one in Dagon Street and one in the Wizard's Pleasance. If I knew which one was next, I could stake it out. In the center of the octagram was the theater, which almost certainly meant some kind of cosmic evil was entombed there.
In the theater?
I can't say I was enthusiastic at the thought of checking it out.
Goodo. Luton is very good at straight lines. Oh, that one's a bit wobbly. Cool. Is there necessarily a point to which order they should be in? Well, I don't know. But we got another location. Cthubopalulu. Cthubopalulu. Oh, we got a few locations. So, yeah, we got the Wizard's Pleasance up there. We got Dagon Street down here. And we've got the Disc Theatre. 3 new locations! Oh boy, this game seems to think I've got way more time on my hands than I actually have. Alright. But, before we go to any of them, to the library. Because we have a symbol. A symbol, I say. A symbol! Not a musical symbol. Don't be silly. Alright.
I'd like to use the library.
We have an icon. To look up the strange symbol. Find out what it is.
I found the obscure star-like symbol in the Necrotelecomnicon discussed for students. It called it the sign of the eel, or the Elver sign.
The Elver
It
sign.
was apparently a protective ward against some of the older, darker gods of the Discworld. The tome also explained how to inscribe one, the order of tracing being very important. Not that I believed any of this mumbo-jumbo, but hey, you can't afford to be too careful, right?
But if the order's important, then that means we know which one's gonna be next. Elver sign.
The symbol I'd found in the sanctuary was the ancient Elver sign, which apparently was a ward against the old dark gods of the Discworld.
Can we combine that with the Octagram Murders?
All this occult business spooked me out.
Nope. Can we combine it with Kentweight Killings? You couldn't tell me if there's a connection? The whole point is that there's a connection. Like, okay, whatever. 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 Back to the sanctuary. Let's just floats through the door. Can I use the Elver sign on the map? The map couldn't help. Oh, come on. Again, it's one of these weird things where it's like the character doesn't know, but I know. Well, where do you want to head to first? I guess let's head to the Disc Theatre and see if there's any clues there, because that's probably the least likely to actually trigger progress.
Everyone on the disc knows the legend of Eleanor of Tzot. Or at least everyone knows a legend of Eleanor of Tzot. Or Krinix. Or El Harib. Ask most people and they'll tell you that she was the cause of the Tzotian Wars. Of course, ask most people and they'll tell you the patrician is a kind and benevolent man. Never trust what most people tell you. The real cause of the Tzotian Wars was a little-known goddess called Errata.
And it was here. What's that? Flyer? I'll take it.
There was a flyer left behind on one of the seats.
Gimme. I don't even know what it is, just gimme. It's glowy. Continues gesturing. He seems a bit confused. Are you okay up there, Privateer?
The pompous windbag on the stage was Privitier.
Privitier.
He went beyond being a ham. He had 2 eggs, fried mushrooms, and a gigantic rasher of bacon. That's pretty good. You've been acting long.
One is either born an actor, or one is never an actor.
Yeah, I can just see you paddling about the womb with a script in hand.
Do you doubt my credentials as the disc's premier performer of dramatic scenes?
As far as I'm concerned, one actor is as good as another. You come on, you speak your lines, and then you get killed. How hard can it be?
Here
How
I
hard
stand,
can it be?
Your slave, a poor, infirm, weak, and despised old man. Do you slight me such?
What?
You are not abreast of Wells' fair pen, then, stranger.
The name's Luton. And no, I don't know Well's work at all.
I'm sure we've come across Quell before.
My name is Privitier, and my realm is that of tragedy and comedy. The finest arts are my purview.
Yeah, if you say so. So you're an actor.
He doesn't know Quell very well.
It is my calling to
Quell,
transform,
Manuel.
and for this I am called an actor.
Translation, yes. Why do you talk like that?
When one is blessed with silk, one does not wear cotton.
What's that supposed to mean?
You are not familiar with the ways of the theater, are you, my boy?
No. I always thought it was about getting killed in a different way every night.
Well, that's part of it. But it's also about the lines, the pomp and the circumstance. Men in skirts. Yes, yes, the play's the thing.
To catch the cash flow of the dim.
You disapprove?
Luton really
A man
doesn't.
must his living
He's
make.
not really
If you
an
could make
actor
it
kind of
with
guy.
decent grammar, I wouldn't mind.
You should come and see the spectacle. Perhaps then you would cast less scorn upon our merry ways.
You want me to go to see a play?
Come to hear the wooden dialogue.
That's not much of a quote.
It was the best I could do at short notice.
What's playing at the moment?
Troculus and Chrysalic, the tale of the frailty of woman and the stupidity of a man in love.
With a lot of bloody deaths thrown in for good measure.
But of course.
I mean, okay. Why are you here, and how are you going to help me in my quest?
Tell me about the plays.
Would that I had the time to sing the praises of all Wells' masterworks.
Well,
But time is short and life is fleeting.
Just tell me about the plays.
Our current season is a groundbreaking interpretation of Wells' most famous works, pushing back the boundaries of art and style.
Groundbreaking?
'Tis a term we of the noble calling use to describe the way each generation improves and expands upon the themes laid bare in the soul by inspiration.
In other words, your murder scenes look more and more realistic every year.
The triumph of effects.
Unfortunately, the triumph of effects
CGI.
over plot.
The plots are as entrancing as the day they were first written.
In other words, you haven't had any new ideas in decades.
If the way is
Luton,
true,
you are
why
so
err
jaded.
from it?
You are so jaded. Alright. What can I ask him about, though? What would he know about? He would probably not know anything about that. The coin, no. The grappling iron, no. The
Do
bandages,
these bandages mean anything to you?
no. The envelope,
I-
no. The
Tempting as
crowbar,
it was, I decided not to start it.
no. Been playing long. This is our third session? Yeah, third session. We're probably about, I'd say about 15 hours into it at this point, maybe. We're certainly coming near the end. So if you are if you are spoiler averse for this game, I would not recommend now being the time to start watching.
I'd keep the...
List you wouldn't know about.
What do you make
Perfume.
of this perfume?
Nothing.
What can you tell me about this flyer?
I've still not even looked at the flyer.
Ah! The proud harbinger of our festivities, the page that trumpets the act that illuminates the soul.
You can finally
That
crawl into bed.
inhabits the body
Hey!
that slept on the seats that sat in the theater that shoddy carpenters made.
Do you
That is
mock
good.
me, my boy?
Oh, I guess
Oh,
the
you're
reveal
way
the
ahead of me on that
reveal's
one.
been done then. Schedule for FPFH. I hope my run got in. Right, he doesn't know anything about the Oscar murders. He doesn't know anything about the Sign of the Eel. Nylanathatep,
What would
anything
you
about
say
that?
if I told you I suspected people are being murdered to summon a terrible entity to destroy the city?
I would say, doomsday is near. Die
Yeah, schedule's
all,
out.
die merrily.
That's from one of these silly plays, isn't it?
The King of Ankh, Act 4, Scene 1.
I was serious, you know. The disc might be the focal point for infernal forces that could destroy the city. I'd enjoy talking to you a lot more if you just stopped quoting
mean,
those damn plays.
I don't.
Do you realize
Do I
how
really expect people
pathetic
to
this makes
believe me
you
with
look?
just no evidence whatsoever? He's just being purposefully mean
What?
for no reason.
Must I hold a candle to my shames?
You
Luton, at
know,
times, I don't
think
agree.
I'll be glad if this place does get destroyed by horrors from beyond time and space.
Yeah, the dialogue so far with this actor is pretty irrelevant. That's why
It'll
I'm.
be great publicity.
That's why I'm wondering,
Should I
how are you
tell
going to
how
help me?
Spell my name.
I don't feel like he knows anything about any of these.
Have you heard of
Although he did
Errata?
talk about errata.
But, of course, the architect of the Tsotian Wars, the origin of our little play tonight.
How come?
Being the goddess of misunderstandings, Errata's popularity is lacking.
He's kind of funny.
And she feels slighted by not being invited to a certain wedding. So she plans a devious vengeance, which in turn causes the Tsotian War.
And is it based on a true story?
Everything is a truth of a sort.
Is that a yes or a no?
Kind of. Maybe.
I am not one to judge such things.
You don't know about Nylanathatep. We've already talked about that. Doctor of Murders?
would you-
No. The Elva sign?
They
No.
think-
You know anything about Golden Sword?
Tell me what you know about golden swords.
Alas, I know of but one such blade, the falchion from Troculus and Chrysalic.
The falchion was a slightly curved sword, cast in gold.
Well, the real one would be if it existed. Our prop is an old table leg whittled to a point.
Interesting.
So this story that he's saying is
About
probably
prop?
related.
We have many other props, you know.
I meant what you said about the sword was interesting. I think it was the blade that killed me the other week.
Because it is a falchion. It is gold.
You look surprisingly well for a cadaver, my boy.
Well, they don't make murders like they used to.
Oh, I know what you mean.
Alright, Deadman's pointy boots. Nope. You know nothing about that. Counterweight killings.
A terrible state of affairs, a tragedy.
But do you know anything about it?
I know it's been very good for the gate receipts.
Has anything unusual happened around here recently?
Who am I to say what is usual and what is an aberrance of nature?
Believe me, if I had someone else to ask, I would.
The closest to an unusual occurrence was when Lucius, miserable souse that he is, missed the role in Titus Diplodocus.
Missed his role?
He was supposed to be playing Canapé, but he didn't turn up. I don't know where he is.
Where he is? He still hasn't turned up.
Probably afraid we're going to eat him alive when he finally drags his sorry carcass back here.
Oh. Okay. I'd say that was probably important, but he's not actually written it in his book or anything, so maybe not.
There was a murder at Unseen University recently. The reader of
What do you know about
anything about that?
What do you know about the wizard murder? Nothing.
But all that must live must die, passing through nature to eternity.
I mean, that's deep.
Remind me not to invite you to my next party.
Deep
you
and a
hear
little bit
about the
dark. Oh.
Ah, the patrician. Uneasy lies the head that wears the crown.
I don't think he ever wears one, but I'll take that as a no.
All right. Do you know about
Have you
Gaiman then?
heard about any...
Merchant?
But of course, one was slain in this very theatre only days ago.
Wait, what?
Really?
At
Oh.
the climax
Oh,
of
oh my god.
Kensington, the merchant is strangled by his
I was
neighbor.
excited for a second
It
there.
was very dramatic.
The murder was in the play?
I would not take such pleasure in a real murder, my boy.
To mourn a mischief that is past and gone is the next way to draw new mischief on.
Couldn't you just say, bad things cause other bad things?
One must embrace the beauty of language.
Well,
Luton is very
ease up
direct.
on the hug, Privitier. I think the language needs to breathe a little.
All right. Who else? What else can we
Seen
talk
any-
about? The bestial attacker?
Not since the transmogrification scene in Dream of Somewhere Near the End of Spring last year.
That's not very helpful.
Jasper Horst? Nope. Do you know anything about Reagan's
Do you
murder?
know anything about...
No.
No, I didn't. His name...
Do you know? Does the name? Oh, the name
Reagan.
Reagan rings a
I
bell.
did
Oh
not
no.
know him. Although I thank you for the news all the same.
You thank me for the news?
Though, it be honest, it is never good to bring bad news.
Did the other children beat you up when you were little?
He doesn't half go on. It's got to be said. Right, Carlos is a werewolf. Oh my god, Errata. We've already talked about Errata. Who else do we got? Mundy.
A man named Mundy was killed recently.
Slain amidst the bright flags of peace, eh?
Well, hung upside down in his room with his eyes plucked out, actually.
Indeed. It reminds me
Indeed.
of Quill's epic, The Leering King. Ah, such sweet sorrows.
What's that supposed to mean?
It means that the gods exploit our weaknesses to show us our faults.
More like the gods exploit our weaknesses because it's a bit of a laugh.
I mean,
There may be truth in what you speak.
same thing. They're probably both true. What about Malachite's
was a
murder?
murder up
I
in
don't
the
know why I'm telling
rooftops
like
recently.
why
A
I'm telling
troll
about all the
named
murders,
Malachite was
but
stabbed to
it's
death.
letting me.
Did you hear about that?
I know naught of stabbings, save the foul betrayal.
I mean, someone
in
someone
The
clearly had a
Tyrant.
lot of fun while writing
The
this
Tyrant?
script.
A play?
We performed it but recently. Ah, the grandeur of the stage.
Cry havoc and let slip the dogs of war.
The Dogs of War?
In the play, the tyrant leads an army of dogs into battle, but they kept slipping all over the place because of the general muddiness.
Does he win?
Well,
I mean,
in the
army
end,
of
he's
dogs.
betrayed
I'm
by
all.
his closest
I'm in.
ally and stabbed to death by the people of Ephebi.
Doesn't sound like much of a victory.
He just only knows how
No,
to
but
talk about
it's a
murders.
glorious death.
It's true.
Et tu, Cletus. Pure poetry.
Okay, Carlotta.
I gave Carlotta's description to Pravitier and asked him if she'd been around the theater.
Indeed, I have
Oh.
seen that young flower amongst the audience. She comes often and stays unto the end. I oft find myself musing as to what it is that draws her back.
You wonder why she bothers to come back? So you're admitting that the plays aren't very good.
As good as they are, this young
Well, this
lady
is
has
suspicious
been
as
back to
hell.
see the same play many times. And she is not alone. There are several such regulars. But perhaps these fine souls sense that the magic of each of the plays is timeless.
I suspect there's more to it than that. Can you describe any of the others?
Alas, only the lady's visage is burnt across my eyes like the dawn's first light.
That is suspicious as hell.
What do you know about a...
Right, what do you know about Alkali? You don't know them. Ilsa and Two Conkers? Almost certainly not. No. Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, that's cast a lot of suspicion in Carlotta's general direction. Because why would she be here? Repeatedly for the same play. Curiouser and curiouser the rabbit hole goes. Alright, let's head to the Wizard's Pleasance. So we know there's going to be a murder here.
The Wizard's Pleasance was a small, newt-haunted meadow in a horseshoe bend in the Ankh, inside the grounds of the Unseen University, separated from it but connected to the university. On summer evenings, if the wind is blowing towards the river, it is a nice area for a stroll.
Okay. This definitely has stakeout written all over it with the bushes.
The Pleasance was full of dense bushes. I could hide in the bushes, but for how long?
Oh, sorry, was that a question you want me to answer?
I'd need to know that the next murder was definitely going to be here before I did that.
I guess not. Oh, yep, do a wiggle.
The Pleasance was cut off from the city by a tall exterior wall.
Oh, it's wiggling again.
I
He's
couldn't
just
easily
wiggling
scale
while he
the
was
wall.
thinking about it. You couldn't easily scale the wall. Alright. Luton really loves a good wiggle. Do I have anything that can let me climb the wall? The bandages, if we use it as a rope? No, it's only a wall. I mean, I've still got my grappling iron as well. I could use that.
Okay, so I could have used the grapple to get over the wall, but there didn't seem any reason to do so.
Alright, it's just weird that that wall's coming up as an interactable element, is more than anything. And I think those are the only two interactable elements. We've got the wall, the bush, and that's it. That's a whole load of it. That is the whole load of everything. What smells do we have here? We have Unk, and that's about it.
On a good day, the Pleasance was apparently a nice place for a walk. Presumably today was not a good day.
There's definitely some Unk, some premium Unk. But nobody's really been here. Yeah, there's very much nothing going on here. What we need is we need to find proof that the next murder is going to be either here or at the other street. I won't be surprised if one of them's already happened, actually.
The moon over Dagon Street lit the rundown alley. It didn't look like anyone was around. It was as abandoned as the Octarine Parrot on open stage night.
Hmm. I mean, this place looks dead. Like, completely dead. No interactables on that side. The only interactables I seem to have are a boarded up shopfront window, which I'm going to use my crowbar on, and a sign.
One of the shops in the street was called the Three Jolly Luck Takeaway Fish Bar. I remembered that name from somewhere. Something to do with Mr. Hong. I remember he went missing somehow.
Oh, I can't take the sign. Yeah, I'm guessing that, yeah, we can't split off with our bare hands. This is going to be a job for Mr. Crowbar. Hell yeah. See something boarded up? We going in. We going in. Mr. Hong is Mr. Hong. Yeah, that's what he said. What's so weird about this? All right, we have debris.
The fish bar was littered with assorted debris. Amongst the debris, I found a bone.
A
that seemed
bone?
little out of place.
Do we need to give Gaspo the bone?
The bone seemed out of place somehow.
Give me the bone.
I didn't want. It was bad enough that I'd been carrying around some dead troll's tooth all this time.
But I'm not carrying around some dead troll's tooth. It was taken out of my inventory ages ago. Losing it's like you're not even paying attention. Why? I can't take the bone.
I didn't want to take the bone.
He won't take the bone. He won't take bone for Doggo. Why won't he take bone for Doggo? There's pots.
I don't know what the last thing cooked here was, but it seemed to have been prepared recently. The fish bar was full of cooking pots. Only to be expected, I guess.
Cookies. That was a good little audio glitch. So what bone? Bone? Why is bone? What is this flyer?
I'd picked up the theater flyer from the Disc Theater. It told me about the plays in the Disc's current season. The 8 plays in sequence
8
were
plays?
The Happy Prince of Copperhaven,
8.
Antilogy and Cleopatra, Kensington, The King of Ankh, The Leering King, The Tyrant, Truculus and Cressylic, and Titus Diplodocus. The flyer didn't tell me anything about them, though.
Huh, do we have to link the murders up to the... Or maybe it's something to do with that. There's no link to the list of names, but... Is there a link to the list of murders?
8 plays. An 8-pointed symbol. There had to be a connection.
Yeah, there does have to be a connection. Please spot it.
I couldn't see a connection with the Elver sign.
Please spot it already. What's this bone for? Why is there a bone? And how do I, like, establish to Lucen what I already know? Bestial attacker. Is that anything to do with the bone?
What did the bone have to do with anything?
It's a very good question. Why you? Yeah, like, but you keep bringing it up, so it's got to be to do with something, right? Right? Is it to do with why Mundi was upside down?
Surely the bone had nothing to do with the murders.
Yeah, surely the bone had nothing to do with the murders. What could that possibly have to do with the murders? That'd be crazy. For some reason. Anything to do with the fact that Carlos is a werewolf? It's gotta be, like, that's the only thing here. Now, look, if I just, like, use all these things with it. Not Scarab Murders. Elva sign. No. This feels... It feels like there should be something here. Why can't I take the bone? Why can't I take the bone and give it to Gaspode? Gaspode knows all about bones. Gaspode's a bone expert.
One of the shops in the street was called the Three Jo... I remembered that name from somewhere. Something to do with...
There doesn't seem to be anything else to interact with on this street. This street is not a very nice place. It's gotta be said. So, okay, the question is... Can we wolf? Nope, not in the streets. Can we wolf indoors? Yeah, I could use a bit of a touch up. I mean, it's a project, right? It's a bit of a renovation project. I'm sure it'll be fine. We have dark magenta here.
There was a disturbing dark magenta scent in the fish bar. Something that resonated with cosmic evil. It scared me. It scared me that anything could have such a disturbing scent. And it scared me that I could tell what color cosmic evil was.
I mean, I guess I'll take it. It looks like it's different from the other magenta. We can try.
There was definitely some similarity between the magenta and dark magenta scents, but it wasn't clear to me what that connection might be.
This is so, like, we've got like 3 different purples. 4 different
Although
purples.
they were similar, one had a much sharper quality.
Ilsa is in some way related to this, right? God, yeah, I've just got yet another colour that I just don't know what is. What is with the bone? What is with the bone? Well, I'm lost. Right, our goal is we need to convey to Luton the fact that okay, let's go to the library. We need to convey to Luton, you know, the symbol has to be drawn in a certain way, in a certain order. So how can we convey to Luton that is the order in which the murders are happening, therefore that is going to be the next murder? This seems pretty straightforward. It's like pretty straightforward stuff. But it's a question of, like, not necessarily how do we know it, how do we convey it? Wait, the play's up?
I looked up the octagram of murders in the library, but I could only find the entry I'd already... I checked that I had remembered how to draw the sign of the eel correctly, and I had.
So, that drawing indicates the order. We could go and ask, oops. Ask about that. I don't feel like he's going to ask her, though. No direct connection, really. Okay, sign of the eel. We have a flyer. And there's also the flyer, which is like, hey, there's eight plays, 8 murders, an 8-pointed symbol. I'm starting to think the number 8 might be important here.
There had... I could... I dread...
8 plays, an 8-pointed symbol, there has to be a connection. Do we need to find out more about the actual plays themselves?
There did seem to be something in common with the counterweight killings and Hwell's 8 great tragedies.
Oh, wait, can I look these up? Duh.
I looked up Hwell in the library and found his complete works. In there was a discussion of the 8 great tragedies, Hwell's bloodiest works. From the About the Author paragraph, I learned that Hwell was a dwarf who was banished from his tribe not only because of his claustrophobia, but because of his tendency to daydream. 102, and in the prime of his life for a dwarf, Hwell now worked for Vittler's Plays at the Disc Theatre as one of the premier playwrights of the day. The 8 great tragedies were given in great detail. 8 plays, each with a collection of murders, usually with one more particularly gruesome or grotesque than the others, presumably for use in publicity. The publicity trailers helped draw people into the theater by being towed around town to display posters. There was something suspiciously familiar about some of those murders.
Okay, we actually have details. Good. The 8 great tragedies. Octagon of murders.
And
There has to be a connection.
8.
Now that's Errata. The Elver Sign. Dead Man's Pointy Boots. No.
Matham had been poisoned. It wasn't exactly the same as the poisoning of Village in The Happy Prince of Copperhaven, but there were definite similarities with one of the other poisonings in the play.
So Copperhaven was the wizard.
Cypher had died just like the king's retainer in The King of Ankh, drowned in a vat of wine.
The King of Ankh, that's in the Patricia's Palace.
The merchant Gaiman was strangled in his guild house. I didn't know by whom, but it certainly sounded similar to the strangling of the merchant in Kensington, one of Hwell's great tragedies, who had been strangled by his wife, who thought he had cheated on her.
Okay, that's good. So so we've matched 3 of them. Regan's murder?
In Antilogy and Cleopatra, the Queen of Jelly Baby is killed when she is bitten by an asp. An asp that would have left tiny bite marks on her.
Ah, so that's why
I
we got
was
the 2 bite
definitely onto
marks.
something.
And Malachite.
Malachite, stabbed in the back repeatedly with a crowbar. The lead in The Tyrant, stabbed in the back repeatedly. Not with a crowbar, but it was close enough.
Okay, and one last one. Mundy hung upside down.
I'd read about the death of the title role in The Leering King, one of the 8 great tragedies. The king was hung upside down from a tree, whereupon his eyes were gouged out. It sounded very familiar.
So, what are the other 2 tragedies? What are the 2 tragedies that we've not yet done anything with? So, Copperhaven,
Plays in sequence. were
Antilogy,
the Happy Prince of Copperhaven,
Kensington, King of Ankh,
Antilogy and Clefhatara,
Leering King,
Kensington,
Tyrant. The next
the
one is
King
Trochilus
of
and
Ankh,
Cresselik.
the Leering King, the Tyrant, Trochilus and Cresselik, and Titus Diplodocus. The flyer didn't tell me anything about them, though.
That's the order which they're going to happen. So, Trochilus is next. How exactly do we convey this to Luton? Oh, wait. Can I use the 8 Great Tragedies with the flyer?
The 8 plays being shown were definitely the 8 great tragedies.
Okay, that's a no. Can we put one of these on the flyer? No. Okay, I guess we're going to go back to the... Hey, Luton! Oi! Oi! The next thing is the thing. we used the 8 Great Tragedies in the library. That got us the Quell's complete works. Right, you might be the person to ask about this, though. Tell me about the 8 Great Tragedies?
Tell me about the 8 great tragedies, and don't make me regret asking you about this.
The 8 great tragedies are considered to be among the finest of Quell's plays, each one a poignant drama with an insight into the mortal condition.
That's all you have to say?
I could tell you much more.
Such as?
I could tell of the soul-searching anguish of village in The Happy Prince of Copperhaven.
That's the
and
wizard.
He struggles to decide whether to avenge the death of his father. Whilst in the meantime,
poisoning.
inadvertently stabbing and poisoning the entire cast in oh so many humorous misunderstandings.
No, that's fine.
Oh, in the dead vast middle of the night,
He is just
cried.
talking to a wall.
Oh, that my lover's father had not hidden behind that tapestry whilst I was practicing with my poignard.
Poignard!
That's enough.
And the famous soliloquy, to be or not to be. Oh, what's the point? Nobody's listening. Or perhaps I could tell of the tempestuous love of Antilogy for Cleopatra, queen of the Jelly Baby.
Stop it!
Perhaps the unspeakable acts of Titus Diplodocus. If one good deed in all my life I did, I do repent it from my very soul. That's all, folks.
Okay, suddenly this
All
is Looney
right.
Tunes.
Enough!
Our revels now are ended.
Stop! I knew I shouldn't have asked.
I mean, maybe if you listen, he's actually giving information, giving useful information.
There was a
But all that...
Okay. Dude, just that's all folks does. He totally did. To be fair, Amber, when it was a different one that got us the 8 Great Tragedies. It was the flyer, I think, I used to get the actual entry. So we could try the actual entry. It's so frustrating knowing the answer and just not knowing how to convey it to the character. Like a good point and click adventure game needs to not do this. He's going somewhere.
The 8 great tragedies were still in the complete works of Hwell. Well, it wasn't like they were going anywhere.
Yeah, the Phoenix Wright curse.
Cheery collection of plays. In Titus Diplodocus. In almost all the other plays, the lead met a horrible end. The Happy Prince of Copperhaze, the lead met a poisoned at the end. Antilogy and Clephatara, who were stabbed
We've
and
not asked
poisoned
Carlotta
by
about
an
any of
asp,
this.
respectively. Kensington, who was strangled by his wife.
Leering
The
King is
leering
Mundy.
King, who had his eyes gouged out. The Tyrant, who was stabbed repeatedly in the back.
Malachite.
And Trochilus and Cresselik. He gets dragged through the streets of Sort until dead, and she is one of the tiny handful of protagonists to actually survive one of Hwell's action-packed blockbusters. If they held a Protagonists of Sort's Tragedies annual reunion, the only other person there would be the lead role in The King of Ankh.
Which is all interesting stuff, but it doesn't convey anything to Luton. See, I can now point exactly to which of the 8 great tragedies each of these is. We have an ordering and everything.
There did...
Okay, one more thing I can try.
Useful though they are.
Yeah, don't be a
Useful though...
smart ass. I want to try something before we talk to Carlotta, and that is I want to go back to that map of Ankh. And to be fair, it is a very difficult thing to balance, like giving the player just enough information to get it, but not giving them too much to get it before the character does. And like to get that right is really difficult. Right, can we draw the Elva sign on the map? No. Can we put the 8 great tragedies on the map? No. Can we use the Octagram of Murders on the map?
The murders were marking out a perfect octagram. If I was right, there would be 2 more murders. If I knew which one was next, I could stake it out. In the center of the octagram was the disc theater, which all... I can't...
Because, like, okay. Here's the thing. Libya. There we go. Here's the thing. The first one was the wizard. The second one was the patrician. The third one was the merchant. The fourth one was Reagan. Fifth one was Malachite. And the sixth one was Mundy. Which doesn't really give us any information, but it's a nice, pretty diagram, isn't it? There's one there, and there's one there. Good, excellent. I'm glad we took the time out to do that. Yes. I didn't really... I was hoping it would, like, go in like a star formation, but it didn't. We joined the dots. Alright. Sign of the Eel.
I couldn't easily take the map, but I could use it to
to work out some things.
The murders were... If I... In the center of the octagram was the disc theater.
Can we... Did I have a werewolf in here? Oh, there's bright cyan. I don't think I ever did.
The scent of the troll perfume
Oh, that's
blotted
the
out everything
troll.
else in the sanctuary.
That's fair. That is fair. Everything is very wibbly. That troll perfume makes everything wibbly.
The scent of...
Wibbly and pixely. Well, that was in the order of the plays as it is on the flyer. There has to be a connection, but what do you want me to use on what exactly? Can we combine the Elva sign with the Eight Great Tragedies? No. Ah, we're so close. We're so close. We're so freaking close. It's just like, how do we convey that to Luton? Can we have a look at what's in our doobly do? Discern. Discern the thing that we are trying to get you to discern. Counterweight killings. Eight Great Tragedies.
There did seem to be something in common with the counterweight killings and Hwell's 8 great tragedies.
Octagram Murders.
The octagram didn't seem to be connected to that.
Yes, it does. It absolutely 100% does. Of course it does. Like, what do we... Got down as a tap. I don't know. It feels like the actor's definitely all about telling us about it.
It made me think that all the discs are
All the
staged
discs
and
are
all the
staged.
people players. Unfortunately, I felt like I'd been cast as an extra in my own life story.
That's a mood. There's nothing else we can interact with here.
Mind...
What else have we got? Have we got that's new in here? You don't know about that. You don't know about that. You don't know about that. And you're glad, yeah, we're glad he tells me about the 8 Great Tragedies. We've already talked about you being an actor. So tell me about the plays.
Our ground...
Yeah, tell me. Okay, we have already been through that.
The proud harbinger of our festivities, the page that trumpets the act that illuminates the soul.
that inhabits the body that slept on the seats that sat in the theater that shoddy carpenters made.
Do you mock me, my boy?
Yeah. I suppose I can turn into a werewolf here, right? Wait, why?
I quickly transformed into a wolf and had a sniff around. There was an eerie, dark magenta scent in the theater. But what caught my attention was the magenta scent that seemed to disappear into the stage. My murderer had been here.
Just in front of the actor. That's fine. Don't worry about it. This is the only place I hadn't tried turning into a wolf. Oh, now I can interact with things on this wall. Does this open up?
Where the scent had disappeared, there were some marks. I couldn't quite make them out, but they seemed to be a definite shape of some kind. I ran my finger around the marks casually. There was something about them that made you want to trace things on them, like a smiley face or a tic-tac-toe board.
All right.
Well, something
This
like
is
that.
this is a gesture
Maybe
keypad.
something a little more sinister.
So let's go ahead and enter the gesture. Right.
I traced the sign of the eel across the marks, exactly as I'd learned how to do in the Libraris Apocrypha. There was a faint click, and the next thing I knew, there was a passageway under the stage.
Well, that'll do it. Where are we going? Where are we going? Cutscene. We are going down. That's where we're going. We are going down and down and down. No, we're gonna stop here.
The passageway led into a dark and ominous vault. The whole sepulchral temple seemed to be formed from curves and angles that would give geometry teachers nightmares.
This seems safe and sturdy. Yeah, sure. Why not? Well, this altar is definitely the. So this, yeah. Oh, this is the theater, isn't it? This is underneath the theater. This is where the Nyarlathotep. What's your name? Nyarlathotep.
The centerpiece
Sleeps.
to this disturbing chamber was a stone altar engraved with a map of the Circle C. It looked centuries old, the kind of altar that could tell a few tales if it could talk. I was glad it couldn't. The map of the Circle C seemed to be the only interesting feature of the altar.
Cthubopalulu. Cthubopalulu. Well, that's clearly the octagram of murders.
Using the map, I worked out where each of the 8 great tragedies...
Oh, you can do it
had
on this
taken
map, but you
place.
can't do it on the other map, can you?
They made an octagram around the edge, just like the counterweight killings did in Ankh-Morpork. I could match each of the tragedies to one of the murders, and the positions corresponded precisely. I knew that someone was going to get dragged to death from the Wizard's Pleasance, and that some unlucky fellow was going to get eaten in Dagon Street. I had a feeling I knew what had bothered me about the bone in the fish bar now.
What was it that bothered you about the bone in the fish bar, Luton?
It was a human femur.
Oh.
That meant there was only one murder to go.
Oh, the murder's
and
already
it would
happened.
Take place at the Wizard's Pleasance.
Oh, the murder's already happened. Okay. We need to get to the Wizard's Pleasance then, huh? We need to get to the Wizard's Pleasance. We need to do a stakeout. We got some, like, appropriate stakeout music? I don't think so. Appropriate stakeout music. Not really. Noir jazz is much better. Hey, Gaspode! Is that Gaspode? Gaspode? Hello?
I wasn't an expert on dogs, but I thought that this black thoroughbred dog was a Klachian hound, also known as the Kelef Klachani.
Oh, wait.
Small, proud...
They
and
was this one. This is the same dog that was sat outside
Kelef
the
Klachani were
Archaeologist
prized by
Guild.
dog breeders throughout the Circle C. What this one was doing out on the streets was...
Have you been watching me?
I thought about petting the dog, but there was something about the way he looked that made me think twice, maybe even 3 times about it.
Hmm. Okay, are we doing a stakeout?
The Pleasance was full of dense bushes.
And sit.
I didn't
No
know
one will
how
see
long
me
I'd
here.
have to wait until something happened, but it turned out to be less than I thought. I'd suspected I'd been being followed, and I wasn't surprised
I'm
to find
invisible.
that Al Kali was skulking around behind me. Gods alone knows how he got into the university, but if I could do it, I guess anyone could.
Cutscene time. Oh, is Al-Kali going to be the final victim, or... The dog is the beast. It was the doggo the whole time.
It was over in seconds.
Oh no, not the doggo.
I was about to follow the killer's trail when I saw a familiar face.
She's disappeared. Oh no, don't tell me it's soft locked. Do not tell me it's soft locked. Don't tell me this is soft locked.
Why did you carry on with the case, Luton?
Too many people
Phew.
told me to stop.
I was hoping it wouldn't come to this. I like you,
She
Luton.
appeared again.
It didn't have to be this way.
So you're behind this, are you?
I'm just a servant. My master, Anu Anu, is behind this.
That beast is Mooncalf's god?
Mooncalf didn't start this cult. I did.
Okay, she's the bad guy.
When the last human worshippers of Anu Anu had passed on, leaving only an empty temple in their wake, the cult lived on among the Lycan. My late husband got me involved, and I came back to Ankh-Morpork to arrange everything.
Came back?
I thought you'd realize, Luton. I'm Therma.
You're Therma?
It figures.
Carlotta was Therma the whole time?
You killed Malachite, didn't
This
you?
is Carlotta, yes. No, it's Therma.
I didn't kill any of them. My master did that. We just arranged everything for him. He's stronger when we gather together and pray.
You were in the Temple of Small Gods each time there was a murder.
It was a perfect alibi.
Why was Malachite looking for you?
I'm his sister.
What?
His sister?
What?
Hands up who can spot the big problem here.
I was adopted by Mr. and Mrs. Karst. They named me Therma. And Malachite and I grew up together.
What happened?
It's a tough life when you're a poor troll. And tougher still when you weren't born a troll. I used to sit at the table eating bread while the rest of the family was chewing cold sandwiches That kind of thing leaves its mark on a girl.
My heart bleeds for you.
What?
Malachite and I broke into the von Uberwald mansion and made off with some of the Count's valuables, including that pendant you've been carrying around.
And that jeweled box in the carriage that presumably held the asp that poisoned Reagan.
That's right.
How did you and Malachite get separated?
He got caught, but he didn't tell the watch about me. I thought I'd seen the last of him. I sold most of what I got, and I was living off it comfortably. But I'd seen that painting in the hallway, and it got me thinking.
The painting that looks like you?
Exactly. I reinvented myself as a debutante, and I seduced Ulrich and married into high society.
What?
I went back to Uberwald with him, changed my name to Carlotta, and my life as a troll was forgotten. Therma was dead. Long live Carlotta von Uberwald.
Did you know Ulrich was a werewolf?
Not until the honeymoon. That was a surprise, I can tell you.
I am so confused.
Not entirely an unpleasant one, I have to say.
How did you get involved in this cult business?
Before he died, Ulrich inducted me into the worship of Anu Anu, and it became my mission to engineer his return to power. I recruited followers and we prayed to him, gradually awakening his consciousness. He'd been stuck in the form of a small dog on the street. As our numbers grew, Anu Anu's power grew, and eventually he was able to slip aboard a ship and steal his way here to anchor.
The Milka.
That's right. The Milka also stopped off at Sort, where it picked up Mundi. He was supposed to be bringing us the Sortese falchion, having stolen it from a dig at Sorta. The archaeologists didn't even know it was there. Unfortunately, what we hadn't counted on was that Mundi was a man with few scruples and even less brains to go with it. Either he approached Horst, or Horst approached him. One way or another, he arranged to sell the sword to that devious troll.
Only he didn't have the sword, did he? He'd concealed it in one of the crates in the cargo hold.
We didn't know that. We just knew that Mundi had gone to ground. That's why I hired you to find him.
And when I did, your cult killed him. Only you'd expected the sword to be with him. And by the time he was dead, it was too late to ask him where he'd put it.
We couldn't believe our luck when you found the sword for us after Mundi's death.
God.
I'm sorry that my master had
So-
to stab you to get it.
Did you know I was going to get killed? Was that why you made me into a werewolf?
I suspected that things would get a little rough for you, and I believed you were too valuable an asset to waste.
I feel betrayed.
I'm flattered. And the counterweight killings were your cult attempting to summon Nylanathatep by mimicking the way he was summoned before. I don't get it.
With the falchion, my master can defeat the laddering horror again, and he will grow in power, ascending to the ranks.
That's all very well, but a lot of people died for that dream. You can't just
Carlos
go
is a
around
troll.
killing people whenever the notion strikes you.
That's the
It's not
confusing bit.
polite.
What are the lives of a few people against the prize?
Reagan knew, didn't he? Or at least suspected.
I don't know what he actually knew, but he suspected a lot. He'd been blackmailing me for weeks.
And that's why he's got the envelope.
The envelope in his locker. He said he had evidence, didn't he?
I didn't know it was empty. He said he had proof, and he knew enough that I couldn't take any chances. He had to go.
Why are you telling me all this?
It's customary for the villain to explain his evil schemes when the hero is captured.
I mean, that's true.
I'm no hero, and you're no villain either. We're just
No.
people.
She is a villain. Have you not listened? Have you not been listening to this
You
entire
know
revelation?
It's not too late, Luton.
He is literally the bad guy.
Join us.
Join us.
Join your cult. What happens if I refuse?
There's no point in refusing. It's already too late to stop the summoning of Nylonathotep. Al-Khali was the 8th murder. Even now, the other cultists are gathering at the focal point for the invocation.
That would be the temple under the Disc Theater, I take it.
You're good. I'll give you that. Let's go, or we'll miss the pre-summoning.
What if I try to stop you?
Like I said, it's already too late for that. Join us.
Join us.
You
Together
know it's
we
the
shall
only
rule. Ankh-Morpork.
I could kill you and make a run for it.
You wouldn't hurt me, would you, Luton? After all we've been through.
You arranged the murder of your own brother, and you'd have me killed too if I got in the way.
So what? In this world, you get one chance at happiness.
You may be right. All right,
Okay,
I'll go along with this for now.
we're joining a cult.
But I'm not making
fine
any
with that.
promises for the future.
That's good enough for me.
I love joining cults. Not 20 on
Carlotta told
diplomacy.
me she would have to bind me in case I got any foolish ideas, and then she escorted me into the depths of the temple.
I'm so the
It looked
sacrifice,
like
aren't
the
I?
whole crowd was there. As well as Carlotta, I recognized Mooncalf and Warb, the wizard from Saturnalia. 8 of them in all. 1 for each person on the list. But my attention was drawn to the hulking mass of Anu Anu, and the golden sword that he was wielding like it was a toothpick.
It begins.
Take your places, people. Everyone, remember your lines.
Nylonathotep. Who summoned thee? In accordance with the ancient pacts, we have made 8 sacrifices in the manner prescribed. Come to us.
I was filled with
Dragon!
an overwhelming
Dragon!
sensation of
Jargaga!
dread. I
Jargaga!
guess summoning rituals
Jargaga.
had that effect on me.
Nylonathotep! 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 Nylonathotep!
Now I command you, by the power of the fashion, to bend to my will. Bend to my will, I command thee. I hold.
Somehow that's not the
fashion.
voice I expected of God to have.
You will obey me.
I got the impression that that wasn't supposed to happen. The next thing I knew, the temple was coming apart at the seams, and rocks were falling everywhere. I don't know what was wrong, but it seemed as if Anu Anu couldn't control the unspeakable force of cosmic horror that he
Oh dear.
unleashed, and now it was loose in the city. As if my day wasn't bad enough already.
Oh dear. Yeah, this doesn't seem good. This seems very, very, very bad indeed. And that's the beginning of Act 4. I think once we get control, we are going to stop now.
After the rubble had settled, I pulled myself out from under it and had a look around. The temple seemed different somehow, and not just because the roof had caved in. Anu Anu was lying in a crumpled heap on the other side of the chamber, and Carlotta was tending to his wounds. The rest of the cult had made their getaway. Everyone but Warb, whose luck had taken a permanent turn for the worse.
Oh, Warp is dead? Not Warp. Oh. But yeah, I think that's where we're going to end it for today. I do not know how long Act 4 is. Act 4 could be super short, or it could be crazy long. I kind of don't want to risk it tonight, honestly. I still have to sort out food, and then, yeah, I need to get an early night for a long, productive week of work.